Okay, so let's get started about today's session. Today we're gonna talk about this why front engineer. Why we better choose a front engineer instead of the back end. Basically today we're gonna talk about only the career. Okay. So who is the target for this video, this streaming? The people who is passionate about the future career as an engineer. Some people might wonder whether they should go on to the back-end engineer or front-end engineer or some other area. This is just a recommendation. It's not it's a recommendation based on the prediction. Then I will explain the predict from the current trend. What we have to know before making the decision of the career. Then three things we have to see. Like one of the things is like who is a big player. And the second one is a user's preference. Third one is government approach. So what is the meaning of this? Firstly, let me talk about this. Who is a big player? The big player is currently, we can just call it the GAFAM. Amazon, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and the Apple, right? So those are big player in the current IT industry. And then what they brought us the cloud computing. Around 2000, later 2010, or around that time, they start to pushing this idea of the cloud, and then many the company start using this cloud system. And then now what is happening? So the cloud is so they have like many the service already, and each service is getting cheaper and cheaper, and then because like they dividend, they just divide each service in more small way. So previously we used to use this on-premise, means like we used to have like a physical machine. We used to have like the server in the company, but now many people are moving to the AWS, GCP, and the Azure. Means they can just control by the dashboard. So what is the meaning of this? So if we move to the cloud computing, of course, like we don't have to fix the physical device like hardware. Maybe like some of the people may remember like we have like a server rack, and inside of a server rack we used to put like the hardware or memory also, like that kind of things. We don't have to do that. So now like we have the cloud computing, and then they also subdivide, like each the service was separated. One is like OS, like in this channel I talked about this OS 2.0 and the OpenID Connect before. That kind of things we don't have to create the OS in our side, and then those are separated the function, and then they put this OS the functionality into the cloud. And the another one is like a database. So the database is also like some company, if they do the on-premise, they used to store the database, the hardware, and then also they always had to take the backup, and in that kind of thing it is not necessary. File storage, this is also same things. Since we have the file storage in the cloud, and then it's more secure basically, because in the cloud side they have the security engineer there, and they take care of that. And then function, this is another in case of the AWS they call like lambda, in the GCP they call like a function, and then they, instead of having server, we just put some of the logic, and then that logic is running in the cloud. So we don't have to have the whole the cloud system, cloud the virtual machine. We just create the one or two some very small program which is running every time, and the user is accessing there. They will be returned. They will return some response, but based on this function. So that is the cloud service. They already so many the service that divided. And then why is that problematic on the having own server? Of course, if we have the own server, then one of the things is like this maintenance things, because like each, like for example PHP, the Java or C#, .NET, everything has like a EOL, end of the life cycle. So if it's reaching to the end of the life cycle, we have to switch to the another version, where we have to upgrade. That is very tedious. We don't want to do that much, but unfortunately, like many of the companies, they are still doing these things every time. It's zero productivity. It's just update, just a version update, and sometimes even just this maintenance things will cause many problem. So that's why moving to the cloud could be it's more safer, and also it's less it's troublesome. Another one is like okay, so I didn't mention here, but another one is of course security. If you have like you don't have the confidence to secure the source code or like the server itself, you better hire the security engineer. But if you don't have the money to hire a security engineer, you have to ask somebody to do so. Then in cloud, we don't have to do that. We just leave this task to them. So that's why that is another reason. User preference, right? Okay, so this is the user preference. In other words, we can say like the trend. So trend is basically this. For example, this is the past, right? We used to have like this kind of the desktop application versus web application. When I start learning about like Windows application long time ago, then we had this kind of like battle, like which one is better, because like previously the web app is very weak, poor, but versus like desktop application is more rich. But now web application is more rich, and then desktop application has a dependency. So that's why currently most of the company, everybody is using the web solution. User choose the web solution because it's not vendor dependency. We also used to see like Linux versus Windows, Mac versus Windows. Like you see this kind of the CM, the commercial, but basically like now we don't care much whichever you use. Like you can go to the same solution, because for example, one of the things is like this, like Office 365, that is, it's runnable for every platform. And then used to be it's running only the Windows, but they changed the strategy so that they can apply to every platform. So mostly this one is running in the browser, and then people choose to use a browser because the browser you can reach to the same things everywhere. Then also another battle, this is another war after the web. There's a HTML5 versus the Flash. Flash is a plugin, and then in the Microsoft they also used to have like Silverlight. The HTML5 is a JavaScript, pure JavaScript. Which one won? The HTML5. User choose the HTML5 because again it's not a vendor dependency. So currently web, right? The every website we have like a W3C. This is the foundation of this browser, the industry. And then they decide like what is the next the feature, what is going to do next, or something like that. So one of the things it's good about this is because like they unified all the platform, like the rule of the browser. Of course, like after that, many people is switching from the like many actually browser companies. They are switching from their own engine to the Chromium because it's easier. For example, Brave here, Opera also, the Microsoft Edge, they used to have own proprietary the engine, but they switched to the Chromium. This is one of the reasons maybe because the less cost, like they can save the cost. But the doing like the implementing and then investing the researching of the browser is huge cost. So that's why they are switching to the Chromium way. And the another one we have to mention here, like this is the one of the three, right? The third one, the government approach. So the government approach we cannot ignore because they decide sometimes, and then their decision will give us some of the impact. For example, right? So this is a privacy policy. They force us to but previously we used to use like a cookie everywhere without caring about this. Now we see this consent of the cookie. Every time we have to every time if you visit some the website, then they will ask us whether it's okay to use a cookie or not. Then we normally say like yes, right? Previously they didn't have to mention like this, but now they have to. It's because like that is partially the reason of the it's coming from the government. So another one is end of the third-party cookie. Like this is a recent trend. Safari they already banned the third-party cookie. Then Chrome they also start banning a few years later. Then this is another things like because the government they are caring about each person's the data, and then they want to force each vendor, each the IT company to ask the user whether they get the consent or not. So that is one of the things. And then another one is like a personalized ad. This is very another from the developer's side of view. It's a bit troublesome. It's because we didn't ask before, but now we have to ask. Personalized ad means previously we take the user's data, and based on data, we give them the different the advertisement. But now we have to ask. So in the iOS, for example, we see that the pop-up like whether it's okay to personalize your advertisement or not. If they say yes, then we can personalize. We can show the personalized ad. But if it's not, they say no, then we just give them like random advertisement. Then yeah, so another change recently is like Chrome extension. They also brought us another because of again this is a privacy policy. Because of that, then they the Chrome extension, right? Chrome extension we can show many things, but this is a new change from the Chrome extension. They can just show the contents you can retrieve from the server, but that content it shouldn't use the JavaScript like that. So that is because of the security reasons, because of like privacy policy reason. So this kind of things is happening after cookie or after the government's policy change. So another one is Chinese government, they ban the Bitcoin or cryptocurrency things. So which area is still free to go, right? So you may wonder which area is still free. So what I can say is like cloud computing, right? So the cloud computing, they invented the many things, especially for the backend database, the log, file storage, authentication, authorization. All of this, the backend task, is nowadays taken by the cloud computing. So you don't have to hire this database administrator. You don't have to hire the backend. If of course, like if you already have like mature system, mature company, then yeah, you still can hire. But backend system can be replaceable by the most of the cloud computing service. So that's why besides like it's very cheap now. So that is one. The another one is like user preference. So the users, the favorite screen of things are changing very often, and because of that, like normally like backend, people don't care. Like the user doesn't care much, because whether it's a backend is a blockchain, it's a backend is centralized, decentralized, people don't care. It doesn't matter. The most of the things we have to be we care is the user interface. The user interface, if like for example, let's say like Windows 10 to Windows 11, this today I think 11 is released, and then previously the left bottom, they used to have the start button, right? Now it's going to middle, and then from the middle we can just click and then show. So that kind of like things change, like this user interface things that change often very quickly and then very frequently. That's why like endless, like front end engineering is endless. Then this is endless effort. Then yeah, so the another one is so many tasks on front end. Yeah, just I mentioned. Front end is like pointed the fingers by many people, but back end is basically nobody cares. So front end has so many tasks to do. That is why I say like front end engineer is the good career. Besides, there's not only that reason. For example, this is Stanford, right? Stanford, that is a university in the US. It's one of the major the university, and they also have another school in the under this Stanford. It's called like D school, and in D school, what they do is they are specifically only focusing on the design user interface, the front end, because like that is a reason why it's leading the successful the business or not. So the user interface is very, very important. When we switch from some other Windows mobile application, Windows mobile or BlackBerry to the iPhone, why people switch to the iPhone? It's because the user interface was excellent. User interface will change the many things. That is one. Then another reason why the the front-end engineer and the design is good is because it will train your the business mindset, and also and the marketing. So this is not only just engineering, it's also giving you some of the impact for the marketing. You have to have like the marketing knowledge also. You have to have the business knowledge also, and then this will be reflected on you like quickly from the user, and then that will then you will consider about okay, how we can make the change again, like the A/B test, right? So you do like the test A and the test B. A/B test is basically we need to test if the user is satisfied about the current user interface or not. From that, the response, we can see like which one is better. Then that kind of things, by doing so, we learn about like business, how the business work, how the user react, how the impression. So very important. Like that is very close to the front end engineer. Like the front end engineer, they also have to know about the business, marketing, and the engineering. Although we don't have we have like a data scientist, we don't have like any like data scientist like this cool catchy name, but we definitely like there is something like that. Design is universal no matter what the platform we use. So design is basically no matter which era you go, it's still like essential, then still like high demand. And then whoever make the good design, that will be very you could be the very popular. So yes, and also the no matter what platform in the future they go, we still need the design, and the good design is always making a good business. Then also the learning design leads the product business and the marketing successful. So that is very important things. And the task is endlessly generated. Yeah, so for example, right, now many people are switching from the PC to mobile, and the mobile to going to, it could go to virtual reality or augmented reality. It's because like it's very close. The future is very close. If you have never tried, and also I also had some of the session for the metaverse. You can just check that one out. The VR is another front end, and the front end of this is amazing. Like that will take you to the different world, different scenario. Then yeah, so that's why. But still, even though you are so that even though you are switching from the some platform A to platform B, mostly the backend is the same. Like we can still reuse the same things. That's why front end could be the more busier and the more task is generated. That's why I'm saying here, endlessly generated. Another one is like human engineering is endless effort. So the human engineering is very important. It's because like all of the design currently we have now, for example, chair, table, whatever, it's a human engineering. This chair is designed for human, table, everything, like the door. Like this, like which one is better for the human? Like which one is good for the good as an interface, user interface? That is endless effort, and the people are. That's why like even IT area, we are making the many things we are experiencing, see like users response, and then based on that, we are making another change. So human engineering is always there in the front end engineer, and you have to know. Then if you know about that, then you are very strong. Okay, the front end tend to be the changed often. Yeah, so I already mentioned here before. So like this, like desktop used to be a lot of people are using, but nowadays people are switching to mobile tablet. And then the trend is tend to change often in the front end. Like backend, for example, right? Like Java, like we use like Java most of the time, long time since like 2000, early 2000, or maybe 1995 till now. People are still using the Java. The Java is mainly currently like many people are using the Spring Boot, but basically they are using the same thing. But now let's say like front end, right? Front end, we used to use like C++, C#. Now people are switching to the mobile, Swift, Kotlin, or something like that. So it's changing often, and because of that, this demand is endlessly necessary. So that is another reason. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming. And then if you are interested in just thumbs up. Then if I have another time, then I will make another session. Okay, so thank you. Bye bye.